Hey everybody, and welcome back to Jim's Garage. Since putting out my Matrix-Synapse home server video, I've had quite a lot of feedback asking for bridges. Now, for those of you who didn't watch that video, you can find it on my channel, and Matrix is basically an open source, end-to-end encrypted, decentralized communications platform. It covers things like messaging, voice calls, recording, conferencing, and a whole lot more because the protocol is extensible and you can visit the website to find out more about that. One of the key things that's supported off the bat are bridges. Now, bridges, much like joining two landmasses, are a way to join two applications. And today I'm going to show you how to connect Discord to Matrix. So that means all that you need is a Discord account. You don't even need to have Discord installed once you've set up the bridge. And so you might be thinking, well, what does this allow? Surely the functionality is not very good. Well, it's pretty much there. You're not going to be able to do voice and video calls, but you could do that anyway within Matrix. So it will allow things like standard messaging. So you will be able to send a message on Matrix and it will show up in Discord as though you have sent it, because the way that we use webhooks and the API, it will be using your Discord account to send that message. So everyone in Discord, they won't even know that you sent it from Matrix, and vice versa. Anybody who sends a message within the Discord channel, you'll also receive that on Matrix. And this is a great way to get people into the Matrix ecosystem without losing some of the functionality that they want or are accustomed to. Now, thankfully, the process for setting this up is pretty straightforward. However, a bit like my previous video, there are methodical steps that we need to follow. So, as always, I'll provide you with all of the config files on my GitHub. We'll have a quick run through them, and then I'll show you on screen how to do this step by step. So at the end of this video, you'll have a Discord server connected to your Matrix client, and you'll be able to view and send messages from Matrix without ever needing to go onto Discord again. And also on top of that, it's not just one server, you could bridge any server that you want. So let's hop into the configuration and get on with it. So heading over to the Matrix website and looking at the bridges, you can see here that there's three options for setting up a bridge. Now, these are in various states of development, as you can see from the notes on screen, this one here being in alpha. But the two ones that I recommend are either the Matrix app service Discord, and that uses a Discord bot that you'll see in your Discord channel, or the Matrix, I assume that's how you pronounce that, Discord bot. And this is the one that I've used because I find it really straightforward to set up. It also seems to be regularly updated and supported. So let's hop into the documentation for this and have a quick look. So on the GitHub page, be sure to give it a star. Let's have a look through. The great thing here is that there's a Docker installation for this. So let's click on Docker and view the instructions. And much like in a previous video, we need to run the container first to generate a configuration file. We need to tweak the configuration file. We need to mount that back into the container and then spin it up. And this will also be a multi-container deployment because we need the Matrix Discord bridge, and we also need a supporting Postgres database. So here's the Docker Compose file that Matrix Discord provides, but as I said, we require a database to be set up. Now, you can use an existing database as long as you create a new table within that database, and you could then later specify that within the config file to use it. But I'm going to assume that you don't have one, and there's no harm in running two databases. It's just a little bit of a waste of resources, but it's not a big deal. So I'll show you a Docker Compose file where we've got both of those set up. We'll spin it up and then we'll go and get the config file. So heading over to my GitHub, we can see the two containers and the Compose file here. So the first container we've got is the Matrix Discord bridge. Now, this is the bit that's going to be doing the bridging. So we need to deploy this container first to create a configuration file. Now, just looking through this Compose file, there's nothing out of the ordinary. We need to specify the volume mount, so this is where it's going to spit out the configuration file, and once we've tweaked the configuration file and re-upped the container, it will also print out the registration YAML. We'll come on to that in a moment. We're going to expose a port for this service. Now, you could put this within your existing Synapse Docker Compose file, and you could just reference it using the DNS name, i.e. Matrix Discord, but I'm going to assume that you're doing this outside of it, or you want to keep the Compose file separate, and in my instance, I'm actually running the Matrix server within Kubernetes, so I need some way to be able to externally reference this. So here we specified a port, and much like in a previous video, we've created the Matrix Discord network. This is a virtual network within Docker, and the next container, which is the database, we're going to sit that on this virtual network so that Matrix Discord can talk to our database, but nothing else will be able to reach it. Now that's good for security, and it means that we can also use the friendly name of Matrix Discord-DB instead of having to remember IP addresses. So just looking through this, it's a standard Postgres 15 database. It's the same one that we used for the Matrix-Synapse installation. And as before, we just need to specify a few parameters. We need to create a user for the database. We need to create a password. And as I put in the comment, please do make sure that you change this. And you will need to use this later within the configuration file. But if you've got it in the Compose, you should be able to copy and paste. And we need to create the database itself. In this case, I've called it Matrix Discord. And we need to run the initialization arguments, which you can see on screen. Again, because we want persistence within the database, we need to use a volume mount. And as I've already mentioned, we're going to stick this on the network of Matrix Discord, and we're going to expose it on port 5432. So now that we have the Compose file, let's copy that over to our Docker host, and let's deploy the container. Now to bring this container up, we simply run sudo docker compose up-d, and as I stated, the first time we run this, it's going to generate some configuration files that we need to change. So don't worry that it's not working when you first do this. The database, however, should set up and should be set as listening. So let's go ahead and run that, and then let's check out the configuration file it creates. Now if everything goes to plan, you should receive a config.yaml file in the volume mount that you specified. Now, ignore the registration. This is from my live deployment. We'll get the registration file generated in a moment. So if you open the config file, it looks like this over here on the GitHub page. And there's a few things that we need to change first. Thankfully, there aren't many things you need to get this up and running. The first thing you need to change here is your address. So this will be your public address, or it could be a separate internal address that you've got. The public one is actually specified below, but in my instance it's the same. It's matrix.jimsgarage.co.uk. The domain is the same as the home server name, and again, in my instance, this is matrix.jimsgarage.co.uk. The next section that we have to change is in the app services, and it's chiefly the address. So this is the address of the Matrix bridge that you're going to run. So that's either your Docker IP and port, or you might want to specify a DNS name for this and put it in your DNS resolver, perhaps Pi-hole for example. The next bit is important, and that's the database configuration. So the bit that we need to change here is the URI. Now you need to take your user from your Docker Compose file. You need to take the password from the Docker Compose file. You need to change the host to be the name of the service, i.e. matrix-discord-db, and you need to change the database name, so the /database, to be matrix-discord. So I'll put an example on screen below, and you can copy that and change it to your setup. So my URI would look like this, and these details are taken from the Docker Compose file. So Matrix-Discord is my user, here's my long password. The @ is Matrix-Discord-db, which is the DNS name within Docker for the container, and the database I want to connect to is Matrix-Discord. So once you've configured the database section, there's only really one extra area that we need to focus on, and that's down near the bottom in the permissions section. Now, I do recommend you go through and look at all of these settings and tailor it to your requirements, and more basically just to understand sort of what's going on within the bridge. So the permissions here are for what people can do with the bridge. So the first one here, any relay, that means that anyone on your server can talk through the relay. The second one means that people can use the actual Discord bot to bridge their account, i.e. they can use the bridge. And the third one is to specify your admin user. So in this case, it would be star for the relay. I want everyone to be able to use the relay. I've set matrix.jimsgarage.com for the user, so anyone on my home server can use it. And then I put @jim:\matrix.jimsgarage.co.uk as the admin, because I want my user to be able to have administrative commands with the bot. So once you've saved that configuration file, you need to deploy the container again. And that's the same as doing sudo docker compose up-d --force -recreate. Or you could delete the container and just re-up it again the same way as before. Now this time, with a configuration file mounted, it will spit out the registration YAML. Now this is the part that you need to then copy into your Synapse home server and reference. So we have the configuration for the Discord bot, but now we need to register it with the Synapse server. So let's go and do that now. Let's run this container and have a look at the registration file. Now after running that command, you can see that my registration file is in the configuration file. I mentioned that I'd done this earlier, but this is exactly what it will look like. So you'll also notice that this registration file has a different user to the one that you're logged in with. So you won't be able to edit this directly through WinSCP. So you can either change the ownership of that file or simply sudo nano it within your terminal, like so. Navigate to the compose volume mount location and do a sudo nano registration.yaml. Now thankfully this is quite a small file, so it doesn't look too bad looking at it in nano, and it's pretty straightforward. We can see that it's generated a couple of tokens and it sets some namespaces and users. So all we need to do now is to copy the contents of this file, change the homeserver.yaml file, which we did previously, and make a reference to this registration YAML. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I've navigated to my Docker Synapse folder. This is the volume mount location for my Synapse home server. And there's two ways you could do this. You could go into the terminal and do a sudo cp command to copy the registration file from your Matrix Discord volume mount to your Synapse volume mount. Also bear in mind, if you do that, you would need to change the permissions so that Synapse server can read this, or you could simply copy the contents of this file, go to your Synapse file, right click, new, file, registration.yaml, and then just paste the content in here and hit save. Now that it's saved, we have it in the root directory. We simply need to change the homeserver.yaml file to reference this registration file. So let's go and do that now quickly. And thankfully, it's as simple as pasting the following command. We're saying that we want an app service and we want the config file, so an app service config file, and we're specifying that it's in /data/registration.yaml, which is a file we've just created. And if we look at the Docker Compose file for Synapse, we know that we're mounting the data folder to this one over here, which is our WinSCP. So anything we put in there is going to show up in the /data file. So we should be good to go. So now if you make sure that your Matrix Discord bot is running, we should simply need to restart our Synapse server to pick up the new registration file. So let's go and do that now. So for me, I'm running this in Kubernetes, so I could just scale this down to 0 or delete the pod, and then it will re-up with the registration file. But if you're using this in Docker, simply do a sudo docker restart and then the container name, or if you're in Portainer, you can simply click the container and then just hit restart, and it will do the same thing. So hopefully when it restarts, let's check the logs and see what's going on in there. So I've just restarted my actual running production Matrix Discord bridge, just to prove to you what it should say. So the key bit here is the bridge has started, updating the bot profiles, all of that, and you can see that it's making connections to and from the database. So that's great, everything's up and running, and you should receive some similar messages to that. So fingers crossed now, you have the bridge up and running, it's connected to your home Matrix Synapse server, but now we need to actually configure and talk to the bot. Now thankfully that couldn't be more straightforward. So let's hop into Element, which is the client I'm using, but whatever client you're deciding to use, it's the same set of commands. Let's do that now. So over on my Element, you can see that my Discord bridge is set up. So I've linked this to my Discord chat for my home server stuff, and you can see that it's pulled it in here under the Discord bot with all of the rooms that are available on my Discord channel. So to get here, we simply need to create a new chat. So we click on home, then we click start new chat, and we want to do it with the Discord bridge bot. So that's at Discord bot and then colon and your Matrix home server. Click go. This will now put you into a chat with the Discord bot, and do make sure that you say something to the bot, otherwise it won't give you the instructions and it won't start the conversation. So let's be friendly and say hello. So when you send a message, it will come back to you, create the room, all of that, and you're now in a conversation with the bot. So as you can see, let's say help. Now that you've clicked help, you get all of the commands for the bot, but it's really straightforward to get this working. So there are a few ways that you can authenticate with your Discord account through this Discord bot. The easiest way is to do the login QR code. So you simply need to say login-QR. This will generate a QR code. Unfortunately, I'm already logged in, but this will display a QR code. And you simply need to grab your Discord mobile application and scan the QR code, accept it, and then it will log you in as your user. It's as simple as that. If that doesn't work, you can also use the login token method. So that's login-token, and then it will be a user and then paste your token. Now, you can get the token quite easily by going into the console in the network tab on your browser and simply copy that into here. Now the bit that you'll be really interested in is how to bridge your Discord servers. Now thankfully that's really straightforward, and it's here with the guilds. And the command we need to type is guilds bridge. We want to set up a bridge, and then as you can see here, it takes an ID. Now where do we get that ID from? Well, this is the ID of the server that Discord assigns. The easiest way I've found to get this is to not use the Discord application, but to log in through the Discord website. And if you look in the URL, you will see the slash for the Discord server, and then a following slash if you're in any rooms within that server. So that actually means you could just bridge a single room, or you could just bridge the whole server. I prefer to bridge the whole server, and so we type in the guilds bridge, and then we put the ID in here, and then we do -- entire. Now that will bridge the entire Discord server, i.e. it will bring up all of the rooms that you can see here on my screen. So this is a replica of my Discord server, and you can simply then join the ones that you want to join. Now when you run that command, it will get a bit spammy on the left hand side here, but that's just inviting the bot to each of those channels. Just simply click accept and then you'll be up and running. Any message that you post in your Matrix channel will be replicated within Discord and vice versa. If you want to be able to see everybody's messages, i.e. messages from other users as well as yourself, you need to configure a relay. Now, a relay is just using the webhooks within Discord, and it basically copies and pastes the messages to and from. And to do that, we simply need to head into a room on our Discord server. You might need to join it first. So we want to do !Discord, that's the command to invoke the bot. We want to set a relay and we want to create a relay. So if we hit return on this, it's going to go away, and now it's created a webhook for this channel. And we're in the gaming channel, so if I send a message in here, test, hopefully if I go to my Discord channel, we'll now be able to see that message. So let me just validate that now. So over on my Discord, let's have a look in the gaming channel. Let's click gaming. And there we go. There's the message that we sent in Matrix, and I can send this back. So if I say test in Discord, I should get a pop-up in Element to say that I've received it. I did, and I've also got it on my mobile device. So thanks, Jeffrey. Let's head back onto my Element, and here you see that I get the message back from me, and I also get Jeffrey with his interesting little avatar as well. So hopefully now you have everything working to go and bridge all of your Discord channels into Matrix. Now, the important bit here is that you understand that each user on your server will need to go through this process to be able to bridge their Discord channels into Matrix. You can't do it for you and then share those channels with other users, because remember, you're logged in as you. So if you did do that, any messages that were sent would look like it's you, and that might get you into some hot water. So don't do that. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully this is going to give you all of the tools you need to be able to bridge your Discord with your Matrix server, and hopefully transition people over from Discord to the lovely world of Matrix. Do bear in mind that the Docker container that I deployed can also bridge to things like Slack, WhatsApp, Telegram, and many other things. So have a look through that documentation and set up the bridges that you require for your community. Thanks for watching, and as ever, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.